Alright, so these are the answers for test you guys just took for the practice test during the summer. Question number 1. Jonas has already run 4 miles in a 20-mile race. What fraction of the race has he already run? Well, just like this is number 1 is always the easy one, which is 4 over 20. He ran 4 out of 20, which is a fraction. So the same thing as 1/5. The answer is E. Hope everybody got that one right. Number 2, line AB is shown on the XY plane above. What are the coordinates of B? If BO is equal to AO. Alright, so saying these two are the same distance. So since they're reflected across the X and the Y, you gotta make both negative. So just negative X and negative Y. So if it was this way, when you reflect across the X, you only make the Y negative. If you reflect it across the Y, then you just make the X negative. And this one's the only way. It's the only point where you reflect it across the X and the Y. So it's negative X and negative Y. Pretty simple. Alright, number 3. If 3 kilograms of rose petals are needed to produce 5 grams of perfume, how many kilograms of rose petals are needed to produce 870 grams of perfume? So this is just ratios. So it's 3 kilograms of rose petals to 5 grams of perfume. It's equal to X rose petals over 870. So you cross multiply. So you get 2610 is equal to 5x. X is equal to 522. So number 3 is B. Number 4. The only way to purchase brand X muffins is to buy 1 or more boxes that each contain 6 muffins. So you have to buy. So each box is 6. So you can't buy a half of a box or a third of a box. You can only buy 6. We can only buy a whole box, and each box has 6. So each box costs $150. At 100 needs at least 20 muffins. So at least 20 muffins. So 6 times 4 gives you 24. So that's what you need. So how many boxes did you buy? You bought 4. So 4 times 150 gives you $6. So the answer is C. Number 5, a field contains 4,500 flowers that are either roses, daisies, or daffodils. If 80% are daisies, 18% are daffodils, what percentage of the flowers are roses? Well, what's left over? So there's only 3 kinds. There's roses, daffodils, daisies, and daffodils. Alright, so this is 18%, this is 18%. As there's only 3, so everything has to add up to what? Has to add up to 1. Or to 100%. So it's X plus 36% is equal to 100. 100 minus 36 is equal to 64. The answer is D. Number 5. In a triangle EFG, the length of EF is 9 and the length of EG is 12. Each of the following can be the length of FG except. Alright, so this one, the best way to do is just to draw it. Draw any triangle. Just put your labels. Doesn't matter if it's a right or isosceles or whatever. Any triangle would do. So EF is 9. EG is 12. So this has to be something. So I didn't really go over this, but in order for it to be a triangle, like I say, this is A, B, and C. Then A plus B has to be greater than C. B plus C has to be greater than A. And A plus C has to be greater than B. Alright, so pretty much if you're adding 2 sides, they all have to be greater than the other side. So any 2 sides you add together has to be greater than that. So this is pretty much when you have to start plugging in. So you say let's pick a middle one. Let's pick 8. So if it's a 9, 8, 12. 9 plus 8, is that bigger than 12? Yes, because that's 17. 8 plus 12 is 21. It's bigger than 9, of course. 9 plus 12 of course, bigger than 8. So 8 works out. Let's go lower. Let's do D. So it's a 4, 9, 12. All right. 4 plus 9 is 13, so that's going to work, and everything else is going to work. So next one is 2, 2, 9, 12. 2 plus 9 is 11. Is 11 bigger than 12? No. So all these heights can work except for 2 because of the rules. Both two sides added together has to be greater than the third side. So 2 plus 9 is 11, and it's not greater than 12. So 2 is not a possible side. Number 7. On a map, 1 centimeter represents 6 kilometers. A square on a map is a perimeter of 16 centimeters represents a region of what area? Alright, so 1 centimeter is equal to 6 kilometers. So a perimeter of a square is 16. So each side is what? So perimeter is 4 times s, so each side is 4 centimeters. So each side is 4 centimeters. It's 4 centimeters per side, which is how many kilometers? 24 kilometers. Okay. So it says, what is the area region of the map? So then this is 24 times 24. That gives you 576. Because how you find area, side times side. And the side is 24 kilometers, so it's 24 times 24, 576. The answer is D. Number 8. If the sum of two integers is negative 15 and the product of the two integers is less than 40, then which of these following could be one of the two integers? The best way to do this one is just to plug in numbers. You can do the algebra way, but it's a little bit messy. So we just plug in numbers. So if negative 8, so negative 8 plus 1 gives you 15, negative 8 plus negative 7, and that gives you 35. Oh, sorry, it gives you 56. 56, so that doesn't work. 7, the same thing, doesn't work. So negative 5 plus what gives you negative 15? It's negative 10. Negative 5 times negative 10 is negative 50. That's still not less. That's not less than 40. Let's do negative 4. Negative 4 plus negative 11, that gives you negative 15, but times it gives you negative 44. That's still not enough, so of course the answer is E by default, but just to make sure. Negative 3 plus negative 12 gives negative 15. Those two times each other is 36. 36 is less than 40. It's not bad. Alright, number 9. If C is positive, what percent of 3C is 9? So 3C, this is ratios again. It's equal to 9. So 3C is equal to 900. So yeah, divide by 3C. To 300 or C. Alright. So number 10. Number 10. We didn't even go over graphs, but because graphs are pretty much common sense. So Max realized that the longer he runs, the slower his pace becomes. Which of the following could be the graph the Max's pace by his distance? So the longer he goes, so the longer X he goes, the longer he takes. Alright, so the slower means the slower he goes. So the pace must be going down as X goes long. So as X goes longer, which one of these does the Y go down? This one doesn't really go down as much. It stays pretty even. It's actually kind of going up. So A's not right. B, as X gets longer, it is decreasing. So that's right. C, that just means he's going slower. He goes the same distance with the same speed. This just means he's going actually increasing. This just means he's increasing as well. So it's not increasing, he's decreasing. So the answer is D. Number 11. If n is equal to 3n plus 2 divided by 2, and the value of m is decreased by 4, then the value of n is decreased by how much? Alright, the best way to do this one, if you don't like algebra, is just to plug in a number. So let's say m is 4. Alright, so 3 times 4 plus 2 divided by 2, that gives you 12 plus 2 divided by 2, which gives you 7. Okay, so now M is decreased by 4. What's 4 minus 4? 0. So 0 plus 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So what is the decrease? It decreased by 6. So 7 minus 1 is equal to 6. So that's way faster than doing the algebra way. So whenever you see these types of problems, just plug in a number for it. It's way faster. Number 12, the graph of x squared minus 2 is drawn on a set of coordinates axis. The graph of y is equal to x squared plus 7 is drawn. How does the second graph compare to the first? Well, let's just draw it. You can use the TI-83 for this, but it's actually pretty simple. Negative 2 is here. Negative set and plus 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be up here. So how many spots is it above? It's 9 spots above. 7 minus negative 2 is 9. So which one's the second graph will be 9 units above? So the answer is A. Pretty simple if you know how to graph and you know how to read a problem. Number 13. Alright. Bakery sells bread in loaves that weigh 8, 12, 16, and 24 ounces. On Tuesday, the bakery sold a total of 300 loaves. As shown in the chart, what is the median weight in ounces of loaf sold on Tuesday? Alright, so obviously you're not going to write 8 140 times, 12 20 times, 16 110 times, and 24 30 times. But the way you do this, so pretty much the median, you remember you have to cancel out from large, like from the smallest to largest. So alright, so largest to smallest. So you cancel out 140 on the left, so that means the smallest side. So you got to cancel out another 140 from the big side. So that's 30. That leaves you 110. That's 110 there. So all of those going to be in the middle are 12. So the answer is D. So again, so you know when you find your median numbers, like just take this by right. Your median number, cancel the small, large, small, large, and then small and large, right? It'll be in the middle. So you do the same thing. You cancel out 140 smalls. So you have to cancel out 140 the largest, which ended up being these two. So you're left with 20. Number 14. The probability question. A starting box contains only black, blue, and red pins. If the pen is chosen at random from the box, the probability of choosing a black pen is 1/4. The probability of choosing a blue pen is 1/6. What's the probability of choosing a red pen? Well, there's only black, blue, and red. So the probability of black plus blue plus red has to equal to 1, right? Because the sum of all probabilities is always 1. So if black is 1/4, blue is 1/6, so red is X, and that has to equal to 1. So 1/4 plus 1/6 is 10 over 24. So X has to be, so that plus X has to give you 1. So X is equal to 14 over 24. So of course you have to reduce, because that's the T, you always reduce. Common factor is 2. So you're left with 7/12. So the answer is C, 7/12. So you have to remember the sum of all probabilities has to equal to 1. Alright, number 15. Both triangle ABC and triangle AED are equilateral. That means they all have the same sides. Alright. So AB is the same as BC, which is the same as AC, and AE is the same as ED, is the same as AD. Alright, the perimeter, if AD is 2/3 of DC, then perimeter of AED is what fraction of perimeter? Alright, so there's a little bit of algebra work here. So let's say DC is X, right? I mean, yeah, AD is 2/3 of DC. So DC is X, right? And then AD will be 2/3 x. Okay. So AD is how long? So AD is 3/3, which is 5/3 x. So what's the perimeter of that? Multiplied by 3, and that gives you 5x. Because you have 5/3 plus 5/3 plus 5/3 is 5x. Now, so this is 2/3 of the length. So 2/3 x. So 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 is 6/3, which is just 2x. So now you got to find the ratio. So the ratio is AD is one fraction of perimeter of ABC. So the perimeter of the small over the large. So it's 2x and 5x. The x's cancel. You're left with 2/5. Alright, so one more time. So DC is x. Because we don't know what it is. It doesn't really matter. You can plug in a number or just leave it at x. So AD is 2/3 of it. So what's 2/3 of x? Well, 2/3 x. So now the whole side, AC, is 2/3 x plus x. So 2/3 plus x, 2/3 x plus x is 5/3 x. So 5/3 x. So they're asking for perimeter. So it's 5/3 plus 5/3 plus 5/3, which is just 5x. Now you do the same thing for perimeter of the small triangle. 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 is 2x. So 2x is to 5x. So 2x divided by 5x, the x's cancel, you're left with 2/5. Number 16. Of a certain sequence, the first term is 8, and every subsequent term is determined by adding 15 to the previous term. What is the value of the 50th term? Alright, so obviously you're not going to add 49 times or 50 times. Okay, sorry. So first you start off with 8, right? Okay, so an 8 plus, so this is the first term. The second term, it will be what? 23. Third term will be 38. So it's always increasing by 15. So that's your slope. 15 is your slope. So it'll be 15x. So you want your 50th term. So you got to multiply this by 49. So 15 times 49 is 735. So you're going to add 735 to 8. So that plus 8 is 743. So the answer is A. You don't multiply by 50 because you didn't start off at 0. If you did 0, 15, 30, 45, then yeah, you multiply it by 50. But since you started at 8 as your first term, your second term is 1. So you added 15 from 8. So if you plug in 2, you're going to get 30, which is wrong. So it's not the second term. To get the second term, you plug this 2 is 15 times 1, which is 15 plus 8. So you do the same thing with 50. You don't multiply it by 50, multiply it by 49, and then you add 8 to it. So yeah, that's why. All right, so 17 on the last page. All right, number 17. If x minus y is equal to 10 and x squared minus y squared is 40, then y is what? All right. So we're gonna have to rewrite stuff. So x minus y is equal to 10. So x is equal to 10 plus y. So now you plug it in. So x is 10 plus y, so this would be 10 plus y squared minus y squared is equal to 40. 10 plus y squared is just 100 plus 20y plus y squared minus y squared has to equal to 40. Y squareds cancel. So you're left with 100 plus 2y plus 20y. Take the 100 to the other side. So 20y is equal to negative 60. Plug in y is equal to, divided by 20, y is equal to negative 3. Answer is 17D. Alright, pretty simple. 18. The length and width of a certain rectangle are both decreased by 50%. Okay. Alright, so the original is length times width. So you decrease it by 50, which means you just multiply it by 0.5. So the new area is 0.5 length times 0.5 length width. Okay. If the length and width of the new triangle are increased by 40%. Now so now you're gonna find 40%. So you gotta add 40% of 0.5. All right. So it's increased by 40%. So increasing it by 40% means you're gonna multiply it by 1.4. Because to increase by 40%, you gotta multiply it by 0.4 and then add it to itself again. So this is doing the same thing. So it's 1.4 times 0.5 length plus 1.4 times 0.5 width. Multiply those together and you get 0.7 the length plus 0.7 the width, which is saying just the original size. It's just 70% now of the original. So we multiply them together and you get 0.49 width. So it says what the question is asking: the area of the resulting rectangle is what percentage less than the area of the original triangle, or the original rectangle. So the new area is 0.49 length times width. So how much is the decrease? The original one will have to equal to 1 length times W, so it's decreased by 51%. So this is just multiplying with decimals and knowing how to increase and decrease. So again, you decrease it by 50%, so multiply it by half, about 0.5, 0.5. Then you increase the second one, the 0.5. So you increase it, you multiply 1 plus whatever you're increasing, which is 40%. So it's 1.4 times 0.5 on both sides. That gives you 0.70. So this means it's 70% of the original length, 70% of the original width. So now the new area is going to give you, it's 49% of the length times width of the original one. The original one is just 1 times LW. So how much difference is it? 51%. Alright. So circle with radius r is just inscribed inside a square. So it's good if you draw it out. Remember, I'm not an artist, so do not laugh. Alright, so the radius. If a point within the square is randomly selected, what is the probability that the point will not be within the circle? Alright, so in this case, so the radius, so probability that the point would not be within the circle. So what is probability? Remember, probability is part over the whole. So in this case, so the probability that it will not be within the circle. So we want whatever is not inside the circle. So what is not inside the circle? What is the area of the square minus the area of the circle, and the whole is the whole square. So area of the square. So we got to find the area of the square and area of the circle. Area of a circle is pretty easy. That's just your formula, pi r squared. Area of the square in terms of radius. So this is the radius, goes from here to here and also from here to here, and that gives you the length. So it's a square, so the length and the width are the same. So it's r plus r, which is 2r. So 2r times 2r is 4r squared. Alright? So now we have everything we need. So it's 4r squared minus pi r squared divided by 4r squared. Alright, so you factor out r squareds because they have something in common. So it's r squared times 4 minus pi divided by r squared times 4. The r squares cancel. So you're left with 4 minus pi divided by 4. And there's nothing else you can do with that. And that's one of your answer choices. So the answer is C. 4 minus pi divided by 4. So again, probability that the point would not be within the circle. So it's whatever you want. Probability is whatever you want divided by everything you have. So what do you want? You want where the circle, the area that's between the circle and the square. To find the in-betweens, you subtract the area of the square from the area of the circle, which is this equation here, and divide it by the whole thing. The whole thing is the square. So divide it by the square. So area of a square, the area of a circle is pi r squared. That's just given. And we have to find the area of the square in terms of radius. So remember, the circle goes from the middle to the edge. So middle to edge is r, and the opposite way is also r. So the total length is 2r. So each side is 2r. So remember, the area of a square is the side square. So the side is 2r. So 2r, the whole thing squared, is 4r squared. So now you just subtract 4r squared minus pi r squared divided by 4r squared. You factor out the r squared, so you're left with r squared times 4 minus pi divided by r squared divided by 4. The r squares cancel, so you're left with 4 minus pi divided by 4. Alright, number 20. This is a little bit of time consuming one, but that's why it's the last one. Hopefully you have time to reach this one. If not, then oh well. Then oh well. Then you got 19 problems right. 19 points instead of 20. This is all good. Alright, number 7. This is kind of long, but you have to work it out. So you have -7, -5, -3, -1, 0, 1, 3, 5, and 7. Alright. So how many distinct products can be obtained by multiplying pairs from this above? So you multiply all the pairs. So 7 times -5, you have 35, 21, 7, 0, -7, -21, -35, -49. Alright, so all these are distinct so far. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 in the first one. 8 pairs. 5. So you have, move it over, so you get 15, 5, 0, -5, -15, -25, -35. Alright, so which ones are distinct? 15 is not there. 5, is that from the previous one? No. 0, yes. So you don't count 0. -5, yes. -15, yes. -25, yes. -35, no. Because it's already there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. Let's check 1. So -3. Do the same thing to -3. You have -3, 0. I mean, left with 3, 0, -3, -9, -15, -21. Alright. So now it's 3, and then, no, it's not there. 0 is, -3, no. -9, is there any one of these? No. 15, yes. -21, yes. So this one you only have 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Alright, yeah, hold on. So you're left with 3, 0, -3, -9, -15, -27. Alright. So you're left with 3, -3, -9. Yeah, so you're left with 1, 2, 3. 13, that's 16. So now -1. -1 will give you 0, -1, -3, -5, -7. 0 is always there, -1, no. -3 is there too. -5 is there. -7 is there. So we left with 1. -1, so that's just 1. 0, no, because anytime 0 is 0. 1, left with 3, which is already there. 5, 7 is already there. So use the same thing. These bottom ones are just mirror images, so now you just add them up. 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 3 is 16, plus 1 is 17. The answer is B.